Rolling. All right, welcome everybody. It's July 27th. This is our 25th week now meeting consecutively. Quick recap of last week's meeting. We slightly modified the target date for activation. Previously, we were targeting September 23rd. We moved that to the 21st to avoid activating on Friday. RC3 was not released when we checked in last week. The target was by the end of the week, so we'll see how we did there. Platform support DUNE also is expected to be out by now, so we can see how we did there too. We had activated all of the features on Jungle 4 except for the blockchain parameters, and Diffuse had stopped working. We've got some updates, I think, on both of these areas to talk about today. And I can share some progress on how we're doing on Kylin. I also want to add to the agenda for today progress we're making on an article to communicate this broadly, give everybody, basically spread the word that this is coming and here's what you got to do. So we have a draft that's ready for feedback from everyone here, whoever wants to participate in that. Are there any other items to add to the agenda for today? All right, well, let's start with, I don't think there's anything more to talk about on this one. Mandel software development. How did we do with RC3?
Great question. So I'll hop in. Good morning, everybody. So we currently have not released in RC3 yet. However, we are planning to make the call basically next week. The main thing that we were sorting through, as you guys may recall, was mainly related to removing the GMP library dependency. In our investigations, we actually discovered that we were running into a lot of performance concerns with the library that we were seeking to switch over to. And as a result of that, we're actually going to be excluding that from the release and prioritizing it for a future release. The only thing that we have left going on right now is just there was some work being done on modular exponentiation by REG that was kind of interdependent with the GMP library dependency. We're working to get that merged in and then just having, I think, not a very large release, but basically just some of the fixes that we had to insert related to defuse breaking and then just a couple other small things. But the hope is that will be the final stable release, and optimistically targeting next week to make that call, where we'll, of course, inform you in this call. So feeling pretty confident at this point that that's what we'll be leaning towards. However, just one concern from our end is just it doesn't feel like there's been perhaps as much testing as might be helpful at this time around contracts and CDT, just to make sure that we're in a really good spot there. So that's just something that I'd like to just prioritize for discussion, make sure that we're taking meaningful next steps there, but feeling pretty good about next week being the week that we move forward.
The feature you mentioned, or issue, that was pulled, I guess, out of scope for 3.1 into our 3.2. Is that right? How do I describe that?
Yeah, so there's just a library dependency on this library called GMP. I believe that it is primarily used for some of like the host functions related to, I don't actually know the full scope of everything that it was touching, but for a lot of like the mathy stuff that we use to compute some different types of elliptical curves. I know that there is a dependency for that, but basically the concern is just that, if we're dependent on an external library, there are some small risks of any changes to that library impacting how consensus is achieved. After further discussion with the team, the level of concern and the respective timeline in which we'd actually make this change made us feel confident to move forward without it being in this release. Okay. Also,
so the goal was to remove that dependency in 3.1, and now instead we'll be removing that dependency in 3.2. Is that right?
That's the plan at this time. Yes.
Cool. let's see here. Did I describe that right? Removing library dependency on GMP library was moved out of scope from 3.1 to 3.2.
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
Beauty. Need more testing on contracts and CDT, and where the idea is hopefully this will become final.
Yep.
Beauty. All right, so we'll check in on how we do there next week. Anything else to add on the topic of the software update?
Nothing from my end.
Beauty. All right, let's move on then. DUNE, how are we doing there?
Yeah, so some great news there is that we did have our RC1 release there on Friday afternoon. I think that we also shared out on social with links to the release notes and all that jazz. We have seen one issue come through that was filed by Nat. I'm trying to get Bucky to look into it, but I don't think that there are any large concerns at this time. So feel free to plink around, give us feedback, let us know what you think.
Awesome. Looking for community feedback. Thank you very much. Good update. Anyone have any questions or comments on DUNE? All right, moving right along then. Testing on Jungle. So we had previously already activated all the features except for the blockchain parameters. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's now activated on Jungle. I saw that MSIG going out. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And everyone's testing. As far as I know, everything went well with that activation. Yeah, it looks like we executed that yesterday. And so far, nothing has blown up. So that's a good sign. Other good news is diffuse seems to we've done some work to the diffuse side, and now it's running. We're still doing some testing to make sure that it's behaving as expected, that all of the new features are feeding data the way that they're supposed to. But yeah, making good progress there. So diffuse is now running. Team is still testing. We've got Hyperion working too, as far as I can tell. Anyone have anything to report on either the how things are going with Hyperion, how things are going with this new feature activated? Has anyone seen anything change since that activation? And otherwise, we can talk about what we want to focus on this week in the testing.
Hyperion seems fine. I haven't noticed any issues. I don't really use it too much on Jungle. I will probably be trying to pull and test some of the latest features that would be going into RC3 to see if some of those might help some of the issues that we were trying to fix on my side to get a jump start on that. But beyond that, on Jungle, that's pretty much it.
Beauty. Anyone else have any experience to share on Jungle? All right, and Stephen, you mentioned on the previous topic that there's would be good to do some more testing on contracts and CDT. Is that something we can help with in Jungle? What anything in particular we want to be throwing at it?
I can happily take an action item to reply with any specifics. A lot of what came up in the call, we basically have a call to discuss this in preparation for an update today, the day previous. There were just concerns around just how, I guess, the breadth at which people have actually updated to the latest RCs on those. in ensuring that nothing is coming up for them. There just wasn't a high level of confidence in the visibility of that, in ensuring that there wasn't anything that we might be missing that could, impact the release timeline.
So like in the system contracts and then using the latest CDT to push to it. In some of the other chains that are starting to ramp up their testing, I do believe that the latest Mandel contracts were merged in, but I think that they may have been from like the January version, one of the first versions. So we're not sure how much may have changed afterwards. But if that's really a piece of testing that would help, I might can see if we can lean a little harder on that. And at least if it's just, do they work and does it deploy? I mean, is that kind of what you're looking for? At least some kick in the tires?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, our utmost goal is just to, have as many people on the most up-to-date versions of each of those repos as possible so that we can ensure that there's no issues. I can work on getting any specifics from the team around any areas that they'd like further inspection. You are correct to state that there is not as much net difference between that repo than, all the work that's been happening in Mandel, but just doing due diligence there primarily.
Absolutely. And of course, I mean, we can get Jungle. Do we want to push for a Jungle contract update? I mean, I don't know if Sea Lions is available, but that would be the first place we probably would push it on this call. Is that an action item we want to try to push through and see if we can get Sea Lions to, I don't even know what it's going to take for them to review and merge. I don't know what versions we're at. Probably the latest version is what they deployed J4 on. So it may not be too far old. But is that an action item we want to try to push on there for this week?
Sorry, what would the action item be?
Getting Jungle to guarantee or confirm that we're running the latest version of Mandel contracts and use the latest version of CDT to deploy said or compile, whatever.
Yeah.
And like I say, we'll also
a good goal.
May be able to tackle it and get some additional data points from some others. But if we want to do it and know we're doing it, Jungle would be the place to do it. And it may be able to be railroaded through. And then I assume we'll do the same on Kylin, as we've made progress over there.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, so features are activated on Jungle, but we have not released, from what, as far as I understand, the latest contract on CDD. So yeah, I think that's a good goal for this week. Is let's push those out and test them out, see how it's going.
Excellent.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Anything else that we want to be, besides tests, getting those deployed? Any other tests we want to focus on Jungle this week? And that's probably a pretty good thing to focus on. All right. What's next? Kylin. So we already shared that we've now, between EOS USA and EOS Nation, we've got the root access. Denny's been working on a faucet bot that you can, and a smart contract where you can actually has two key functions: create an account easily by just providing a name and a public key, and the bot will create an account for you very easily. There's still some work being done on creating a backend to do that work so that you can create an account without an account, trying to get away from that catch-22 in EOSIO where you need an EOS account to create an EOS account. This will solve that and make it super easy to get yourself a free Kylin test account. And then the second thing this bot does is issue you tokens. So we'll soon have an easy way for folks to get a Kylin account, start testing their smart contracts. At the same time, we've had more BPs joining, like Ross, for example. Thank you, Ross, for joining the ranks on Kylin. I believe you got 3 or 4 BPs slotted in there.
I got 4.
Are you in? Do I still need to vote for you? I hadn't looked at that yet.
I've got 2 of the 4 in.
Okay.
When you look at it on the register, it's like, oh, looks a bit stodgy.
Well, that's what Kylin's schedule just looks like anyway. It's a fun network. So anyway, I'll try to circle around and get you some more bumped in. But yeah, we at least have a little more stability or some options to remove the unstable ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So and if anyone else would like to participate in Kylin, definitely would appreciate. We could always use more BP participation right now. In the meantime, we're going to be having, folks like Sphere and USA and Nation running multiple BPs to fill out those slots. Anyone else wants to join, just hop into the Kylin Telegram channel. Let us know you've reg produced, and we've got plenty of tokens that we can vote you guys in with. In the meantime, the team's still going to continue working on getting that faucet bot up and running. As far as I know, you can interact with the faucet already directly with a smart contract, but the work to make it a nice and easy to interact with Telegram Discord bot, that's in progress.
Well, it's a smart contracts there, but you have to, that's what Danny reminded me of. You have to have an account to trigger the action to do it. So it's there, but the whole back end of kind of covering and making it an easy onboarding, that's what Danny's working on. But so at least the back end.
You can create yourself a Kylin account with the smart contract now if you already have a Kylin account. But coming soon, you won't need a Kylin account to create
and it does. I think it also, when you create an account, it would pre-feed it with some faucet and stuff like that. So it is actually, nicer than even if you have to go and do it with an account. It does do a lot of the other stuff for you. But then, he's going to try to work up the magic back or front end to kind of pay for it.
Yeah. So I don't think Denny's on the call. I don't know if he's got anything to add. I don't think so. And then, once we got that faucet running, there's still other, we'll have to for example, get power up running on Kylin. There's still a few of those types of things we need to work on getting ready. So another part of our focus this week is planning for that. Anything to add, Michael, or anyone else on Kylin stuff? Beauty.
So.
The next thing I wanted to talk about is we've got a draft up. Andrew Ware and Matthew Darwin has put a lot of work into creating I got it here already, a upgrading to Mandel 3.1 guide. The idea is we'll get this published probably on the ENF blog and have the EOS support team help spread it out with to their mailing list. There's a survey as well that the EOS support team is working on putting together. These were the questions that basically reused from the 1.8 survey, and then Stan did some work making sure they were relevant to this upgrade. We can talk about whether we see actually value in this still. We've got some questions like, what APIs are you using? Do you host your own nodes? What types of API do you require? Which node versions are you using? We found that what was useful about this in the 1.8, it was a bit of a gauge in how when we sent out the word that this is coming, we could sort of track the level of engagement from the response we were getting, that people actually were aware that the upgrade is coming, and so it's even just for that purpose alone, there is some value there. I think.
And are we going to discuss? The results of that in this call?
Yeah, I think so. That would be like leading up. That'll help us inform that we're actually, for example, ready to activate. If we're getting answers that, oh, I'm not ready. Maybe that will inform, maybe we'll discover, September 21st is at risk. We've got some exchanges and dApps and things like that not ready. Which, by the way, on that topic, while we were working on this article, the team has, there are some BPs still running the V1 history that's being depreciated. So it sounds like there's going to be some effort and work on. They're going to have to find another, migrate to a different solution and update with their apps to use something else. So that is a potential risk for the date. I do think we should keep targeting that date. I think, without that sense of urgency, there's less of an incentive to get all those folks updated and upgraded on time. But it's something we'll have to keep an eye on, make sure that as we approach that date, we're feeling confident that BP's exchanges, everyone is upgraded to a state that's good. The 3.1 is a little bit more complicated. So we sent us a similar article out for the 1.8 article. There's a few little tricky intricacies to this one because we're rolling. Some people had already upgraded to 2.1, others are on 2.0. There's different instructions depending on which version you're on. You may have to roll things back and change your configuration. So this goes through sort of all those different scenarios on depending on which version of the node you're running. Here's what you got to do. There are a couple, so you'll see we've got some comments in here like this one. This is for Randall. If you have any questions about the upgrade process, please reach out to EOS support. So Randall will make sure before we send this out that your team has the capacity and knows how to handle these requests. There's another one here. If you'd like to request a 2.0 blocks.log file for download, contact EOS support. In previous upgrades, the instructions were more like just go into the EOS developers chat in Telegram and find someone to give you a. So we figured now that we've got a little more structure, EOS support would be a really good central point of coordination, and they could kind of triage and direct people where they need to go. So Randall, we can chat offline if that's in line with what you guys are willing to support on, and otherwise we can come up with some alternate support options there. Encourage you all, anyone who'd like to have a read through this, leave your comments if you have any feedback, and hopefully by the end of the week we can gather all the feedback, do any changes that's necessary, and maybe we target to have this published, translated, all that sort of stuff on the ENF blog. Hopefully next week. Does anyone have any questions or comments on that one? All right, so I've got the link to it here. I'll include it in the summary for today's call. Share it in the Mandel group, and definitely appreciate any reviews. It's already been circulated among our team and some of the ENF engineers, so it should be in a pretty good state. But the more eyes, the better. And those were the topics I wanted to cover today. Anything else to discuss? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a great week. Oh, Corvin, I see you raising your finger.
Sorry, I'm a bit beside me, having COVID for a week. I just wanted to inform you I had a small short call with Guillaume from UX Network on the IBC solution and diffuse. And I'm pretty sure our solution will also provide the necessary functionalities.
Excellent.
Just
the more independent solutions, more redundancy, I think the better. So that's great to hear.
That's it.
Thank you, Corvin. Any other final thoughts? All right. Have a great week. Enjoy the week 1 of Pomelo, and see you all next week. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Cheers, everyone.